This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Minns.
It was 4 a.m. on a Tuesday when they loaded themselves into the truck disguised as a U-Haul removalist van. Kenneth liked to conduct his presentations to the troops inside that truck before they took off to their vantage point. He stood while everyone else took a knee. The morning rain tapped on the roof, the calm before the storm. "It's great to see so many new recruits," he said, tilting his cowboy hat above his eyes. The hats were worn regardless of the time of day. "Last Saturday, outside the hardware store where we will focus our efforts, local PD reported scores of undocumented. Upwards of 300 people just moping around looking for work. That's 300 potential targets for us to nab. If that is repeated today, and our targets are localized to the one formation, surrounded inside the parking lot outside the store, I suspect we'll be locked and loaded and barbecuing with our families by 3 o'clock, just in time for the game. This is a simple one today, folks. Smash and grab. Any questions?" Eddie, a new recruit who worked part-time as a high school gym teacher, raised his hand. "Yes, sir. Please give us your name as you ask your question," Kenneth requested. "My name's Eddie. Yeah, I have a question. How do we know they are all undocumented? Do we need to ask them first? Do we need to check their documentation?" Kenneth rubbed his chin. He seemed flustered. This was not the first time he had to address such a question. He wished it were the last. "It's like this, Ed. You vibe off them? You know what I mean?" The truck went quiet. Another new recruit raised his hand. "Yes, sir. You?" Kenneth pointed. "Vibe, sir?" he asked. "Name, soldier," Kenneth demanded. "Oh, sorry. My name's Travis, sir." "Pleased to meet you, Travis, and welcome to the 101st Ice Brigade. I notice this is your first time joining us, and I don't mind questions from new recruits, but I do expect you to understand me when I give my answers. Once and once only. You vibe them. Who here does not understand what I mean by that?" 3 hands raised, followed by a 4th. "You look at them and listen to your gut," Kenneth said point blank. Eddie spoke out above the murmurs. "But sir, what do we need to look for specifically? We can't just round up anyone, right?" "Why the hell not?" Kenneth said. "Let God sort out the guilty from the innocent." "Sir, are you saying we racially profile these people?" Eddie asked. "Racially profile, sexually profile, gender profile, age profile, disability profile. I don't give a shit. Whatever it takes to do your job, you do it. God damn it," he yelled. The truck ignited. It was time to move. "Gentlemen, I'm going to be blunt with you now. It is not our job to sort out the documented from the undocumented. It is our job to round up those who give off the vibes of the undocumented. Then let the proper authorities vet our intake accordingly." He adjusted his belt and held the wall as the truck took an unexpected turn. Then he continued, "If they stack up and are legitimate citizens, I know in my heart of hearts they will be set free, as is their God-given right to live freely in this God-loving country of ours. If you want sanctuary, if you want to live peacefully and freely in this great country, if you want to know that you aren't being inundated with immigrants and that your children and your children's children will be able to live and work without being raped, pillaged, and plundered by an onslaught of undesirables, and can we all agree that they are?" He looked around the truck from face to face. The cohort nodded. "Then you listen to your gut, and if you see someone who gives off a vibe of an immigrant, you grab 'em and you bag 'em. Ain't that right, Earl?" A large man stood from the pack of the kneeling. He had a shotgun laid across his arms and pumped the bolt action before he answered. "You're goddamn right, Kenneth." "Hey, goddamn men," Kenneth replied. The truck came to a halt, and the door swung upwards. "We're off, men. Identify yourselves and snag 'em," Kenneth said as they all jumped out the back in 2x2 formations. Eddie noticed the unsuspecting running and began to give chase just as his colleagues had done. He zeroed in on a particularly slow man, brown skin, white cowboy hat. He had 2 plastic bags in each hand and did not drop them despite the chase. "Halt! ICE agent, stop right there!" Eddie yelled. The man ignored Eddie's command and continued to run, causing Eddie to speed up his pursuit. He grabbed him by the collar and swung him to the road where the man dropped like a sack of potatoes. Eddie felt a wave of humiliation cross his heart, as if his mother was watching from the great beyond, analyzing his tactics and giving judgment right there and then. Eddie cleared his throat, attempting to clear away the threat to his authority. "Why did you run, sir?" "No English," the man replied. "Fuck that. Why did you run, sir? Answer me now. If you have nothing to hide, you should not be running." "Please no English, sir. Por favor," the man said in a pleading tone. Eddie looked down at his arm and noticed it was shaking. The hairs were standing up. "Nice snatch," came a voice from behind. It was Kenneth, flanked by Earl, shotgun resting on his palms. "Earl, you cuff him and load him up," Kenneth ordered. "That's a good one, son. Eddie, right?" Kenneth asked. "Yes, sir." "You make your country proud, Eddie," he said as they watched Earl tie plastic cable ties behind the elderly man's back. "He fit my vibe, sir," Eddie said. "Mine too, Eddie. You definitely nabbed a good one here," Kenneth replied. "I may have broken his hip," Eddie said. "When I swung him to the ground. He's quite old, and he hit the pavement hard. He may not know it," Eddie explained. "Fuck him, son. The price of doing business. Am I right?" Eddie watched as Earl escorted the man to the truck where he was to be loaded up with the others who had been captured. "He was carrying bags from the store. Looks like he was shopping," Eddie explained. "He may be a citizen just going out shopping, you know?" He said to Kenneth, who was watching other takedowns in the distance. "Good going, Rodney!" Kenneth yelled, not paying attention. He walked away from Eddie. Eddie ventured over to the truck where the man he had taken down was held. "Is your hip okay? I noticed you were walking with a limp." Eddie asked with a sympathetic tone, attempting to undo his hardline stance from moments before, or at least water it down. "You must understand that I was simply doing my job." "You know that, right?" Eddie explained. "No English, sir," the man said in a desperate plea. The sun rose in the sky, the car park was clear, and all that remained was the cavalry of ICE officers, professionals, and volunteers who gathered on an extended patrol. It was part boredom, part warning to the neighboring communities. This can happen in any neck of the woods. You will never know when to expect us, and that is the point. Kenneth was roaming around patting his recruits on the back when he noticed Eddie, smoking a cigarette, resting on the hood of a parked car, not his own, his face pale and ambivalent. "Good going out there, rookie," Kenneth said on approach. Eddie nodded, his face unchanged. "I was not entirely honest with you on the truck," Kenneth explained. "It takes a little more than a vibe." "What do you mean?" Eddie asked. "Getting the job done takes a little more than just vibing people out. You actually need to tap into a secondary power, but I wasn't sure if you lot needed to know this yet. A lot of you didn't. But it turns out that you probably do," he said. "What are you talking about?" Kenneth removed his phone from his utility pouch. "Just watch," he said. He opened up the AI app and started typing into the prompt. He read aloud as he did, "Tap into the parallel universe that is carefree and emotionless, and give me a chant that will summon a demon who will assist me in taking down undocumented immigrants without empathy," he relayed. As the machine began thinking in the palm of his hand, he turned back to Eddie. "I saw the hairs on your arms standing up. Same thing happened to me when I first started. It's the goddamn empathy, my friend. I felt as if I knew people like the ones I was taking down," he explained. "My mother, she was an immigrant. She passed. I imagined she was there on that street corner, watching me swing this man down to his knees, hurting him." Eddie said with a lowered head and subdued tone. The AI prompt came back with an answer. Kenneth raised the screen to Eddie's face. "Read this out loud, it will help," he said. "What is it?" Eddie asked. "It will help you not care. The less we care, the more we can get the job done. The more we round up, the more funding, the more free time. Just read it, and you won't be bothered by this empathy bullshit again." Eddie squinted at the screen. He didn't bring his glasses. He didn't realize reading would be required of him. "Do your best," Kenneth said. Eddie leaned in closer, attempting to make out the foreign language written in phonetic English. He began to read out the phrasing, line by line. A cloud ascended over them, blocking out the warmth of the sun. By the time he had finished, the sky was completely gray. He felt better. "Come on now," Kenneth said, slapping him on the back. "The game's about to begin. Barbecue at my place. You gotta try my wings."
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.